What's going on, nation? I'm Scott from MuscularStrength.com, and today we're going to take a look at the 7 pull-up mistakes that are not only holding you back from making gains, but also progressing with the movement. But before we begin correcting your form, be sure to turn on video notifications so you never miss a new video upload from me. And for those of you who have a hard time finding all the links or timestamps for the additional videos and information that I like to link to when doing my videos, click the link in the pinned comment below for the article version of this video. Now let's get started. Mistake number 1, avoiding pull-ups because you can't even perform 1 rep. Now guys, this is the first mistake because it is without a doubt the most important. Too many of you say you skip out on pull-ups because they're too hard or that you can't do many reps, so you'd rather spend your time in the gym doing other exercises. But this is just an excuse, especially since there are so many ways to get over the initial barrier of performing 1 repetition to a full set of pull-ups. For example, most gyms today have assisted pull-up machines, or you can even utilize bands to help displace your weight. All you need to do is start by displacing about, say, 50% of your body weight and then work into decreasing that number as you continue to grow stronger and bigger muscles over time, just like any other exercise. Then eventually you'll be able to perform 1 full pull-up without the assistance of the machine, and it's just a matter of time before you can start banging out 5, 6, or 8 reps in a row. On top of that, there are other ways to increase your pull-ups, such as doing jumping negatives, inverted rows, or you can even do dead hangs, which I actually made a video about a while back and will link to it in the pinned comment below. And even if that isn't enough to get you going with your pull-ups, you can check out my other video called Pull-Up and Tips to Increase Your Max Reps, and it's for beginners too, which I'll link for you guys down in that pinned comment below. Just don't mind the hair in that video. It was kind of rough a few years back. We won't talk about that. But at the end of the day, guys, if you're not utilizing the pull-up, which is one of the most effective compound movements to build your upper body strength and mass, I strongly urge you to reconsider, or else you'll be missing out on some serious gains and progress. Trust me. Mistake number 2, not going all the way down. Now get your mind out of the gutter, guys. It's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about range of motion. Now, whether it's chin-ups or pull-ups, many of you struggle to get your chest or at least your chin close to the bar at the top of the movement. But to be honest, I don't really care about that, guys. Going all the way up is a matter of shoulder strength and flexibility, and it's not a must to maximize the pull-up. Of course, you should be going as high as you can on every single repetition, but don't feel defeated if you can't bring your chest to the bar. However, what I do care about is when I see dudes in my gym totally ignoring the stretch at the bottom part of the movement, especially when they're doing weighted pull-ups. It's like, bro, you didn't even pass step 1 yet. Put the weights down and do it right. As you all know by now, the negative is the most important part of the range of motion of any exercise. But to take it 1 step further, the stretch at the end of the negative is even more important. Now, of course, by avoiding the lockout, you're able to perform more repetitions, but at what cost? How does more shitty reps help you build more muscle? The answer is they don't. But on the other hand, when you go all the way down, even if you get a few less reps, you're still setting up your lats for an incredible stretch at the bottom of the movement that will completely tear your muscles apart. That is what is going to spark new growth, not doing as many repetitions as possible with bad form. So, for your next set of pull-ups, once you get to the top of the range of motion, I want you to control the negative and slowly lock out your elbows and shoulders by completely hanging from the bar on each repetition. Really feel that insane stretch in your lats and then re-engage and go all the way up for your next rep and repeat. Then, once you get tired, use momentum or jumping to push through the concentric portion of the pull-up so you can continue to focus on the negative until you finish all your reps. Mistake number 3, using too much momentum. This isn't CrossFit, guys. With our workouts, we're actually trying to make gains with pull-ups, not see how many times you can thrust our face over the bar. 50 pull-ups in a row might sound good in theory. However, your muscles don't get easily fooled, which is why kipping is not a particular effective pull-up technique in terms of back growth or strength. In fact, I personally think that kipping should be its own exercise, not a way to do more pull-ups, especially when you're getting started with the exercise. Now, don't get me wrong, I do use jumping or a bit of momentum myself to skip the concentric portion of the movement when I need to. But the difference is that we're still in 100% control of the negative and focus on a 1 second dead hang at the bottom of every single repetition. Kipping is more of a continuous movement. With that being said, if you're currently stuck at 8 reps with your body weight and can't possibly do any more, I suggest you increase the resistance by strapping a 10 to 20 pound plate to your body and perform a few cheat reps while focusing on the negative. I guarantee that if you do that for a few weeks, when you try bodyweight pull-ups again, you'll be able to do a lot more than 8. But for the rest of you who are still finding your way when it comes to training, focus on nice clean reps in a controlled positive and negative as much as you can. Mistake number 4, pulling with your biceps and not your lats. Guys, just because you're performing a pull-up doesn't necessarily mean you're targeting your lats properly. Trust me, there are a lot of ways to screw up this movement, and if you're feeling it too much in your biceps, forearms, and shoulders, then you better listen up. The form fix is actually much simpler than you think. All you need to do is fix how you initiate the pull-up, and you're good to go. For example, let's say you're dead hanging from the bar, which is the starting position for every single rep, and now instead of pulling your body up using your biceps and arms, I want you to envision pulling with your elbows. Visualize your hands as hooks and initiate the movement by retracting and depressing your shoulder blades. Believe it or not, this slight movement will activate your lats and serratus with minimal bicep engagement. So from this point forward, try to focus on this one little movement before that start of every single rep to ensure you're targeting your lats as much as possible. Also, another great way to make sure you're working your back instead of your arms is to stick your chest up and lean back just a bit, so give that a try in your next workout as well. The 5th mistake when it comes to the pull-up has to do with your grip. It's actually a very common misconception that the wider your grip is, the more you train your lats with, and with a narrow grip, the more you train your back thickness. Guys, this couldn't be further from the truth, and here are 2 reasons why. Number 1, any vertical pull works primarily your back width, as every horizontal row works primarily your back thickness. Number 2, a shoulder width grip would actually work more of your back width than a wide grip anyways. It's actually kind of similar to when you're training your biceps. A narrow grip on the barbell works the outside of the bicep, while a wide grip works the inside. And now I know there are a lot of trainers and gurus out there advocating the use of a very wide grip to work on your lats more, but let's face it, it's far from optimal. Why? Well, first and foremost, you're greatly shortening the range of motion. Also, the wider the grip, the more your elbows flare out, which means you're not in a mechanically advantageous position to lift as much weight as possible. Remember guys, if you want to see muscle growth, you need to overload your muscles as much as you can. But their thinking is that because your elbows flare out, your biceps and forearms will not come into play as much. And while that's true, as I said, you're still severely limiting the range of motion and how much weight you can lift. Secondly, the wider your grip is, the more your elbows flare out, which is placing your shoulders in a dangerous position. The problem is that you're externally rotating the shoulder joints almost to the max of the range of motion, and then you're placing resistance on there as well. Now, if you're really flexible, you'll most likely be fine. But for most of us, it's much smarter to keep our shoulders in a position where they're safe and will allow us to maximize our strength for the movement. Mistake number 6, not stabilizing your lower body. And now here's where it starts to get a bit more interesting. You'll see many people performing pull-ups, but don't really seem to be able to control their legs for the duration of the exercise. But why? And what does it have to do with building muscle and strength? Well, this mistake is called an energy leak. And it's when you're leaking energy from various parts of your body instead of funneling all your strength into the muscle groups you're trying to target. In the case of pull-ups, swinging your legs back and forth and not being able to control them means you're limiting the amount of reps you can perform simply because your body is struggling to stay upright and you're losing energy. So here's how you fix it. Jump on the bar and simply hang from it for 2 seconds until your body stops swinging. Now comes the tricky part. I want you to flex and contract your glutes, quads, calves, and abs as hard as you possibly can and keep them that way until you finish your set. This will allow you to let your body work as one unit and will funnel all your energy output into the muscles that are needed to perform the pull-up. This quick fix alone, believe it or not, could allow you to perform 2 or even 3 more additional reps on your sets instantly. And the final mistake, number 7, not progressing with the movement. The pull-up is one of the most effective, if not the most effective tool you have in your muscle building arsenal. But you have to train smart and always focus on progressing with the movement. Now there are several different ways to progress with the pull-up, the best of which is simply strapping more weight onto your body, and you can use a weighted belt, a weighted vest, or even just hold a dumbbell between your feet. Whatever works best for you. Another way you can progress without using any extra weight is by using a spotter. You can perform as many reps as you can until failure and then have a friend help you with the concentric part of the movement while you're controlling the negative. And finally, a third way you can progress is by doing different variations of the pull-up, such as a neutral grip pull-up, muscle-ups, ultra slow pull-ups, or even by boosting the intensity of your reps by taking less rest time between your sets. Remember that failing to progress with the pull-up, just like any other exercise, eventually renders the exercise useless because you're not gaining any more strength or muscle mass from doing it. Your body simply grows accustomed to the resistance and doesn't feel the need to adapt or grow. And why should it? You're not providing your back with any extra stimulus to grow or become stronger. Guys, you need to always venture beyond your limits on every single workout if you're serious about building a strong body and a lean, muscular physique. Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, and if you are in need of a new muscle building program with proven results, click the link in my pinned comment below and get started today. And as always, guys, more good stuff coming soon. See ya.